But
it's
once you
fantastic
read
letter.
them, you will see there is no truth to the way that Candace positioned this letter. And just a reminder, if you forgot how she positioned this letter, here's a little montage of her doing just that.
So there definitely is a little bit more to the story. First and foremost, that letter he is holding up, he is severely misrepresenting. Those sentences are real, but I am calling upon Bibi Netanyahu, the dear friend to Charlie Kirk, to publish the letter's entire contents. Like, don't start with just 2 sentences. Publish the entire thing. You're holding it. I'm saying you're severely misrepresenting the contents, that in May, Charlie was concerned about Israel and their influence on American politics and how they were pushing things that he felt were in conflict with his beliefs, free speech. Here in America. Bibi's holding it up like Charlie just in May said, hey, you know what? I just want to write a love letter to Israel. That's how it was presented. Would you guys agree? That's not how it happened. Let's stop saying how Charlie felt. And instead, if you're going to hold up the letter, release it in its entirety. Okay? And lies by severe omission, I'd like to be very clear, are lies. Does anybody want to jump in and say, no, yeah, the letter Charlie wrote him in May was just like a glowing, he just was overcome with passion and said, I love Israel. You guys are amazing. You're beautiful. We're going to win this thing and you're perfect and doing nothing wrong. Love you, Bibi. Homie very quickly told us that Charlie was penning love letters to him in May. I just find that weird that no one wants to address the substance of the claims here, whether or not maybe Bill himself has an opinion on whether Bibi lied by severe omission when he mentioned his last correspondences with Charlie. And you're doubling down on your lie. I told you to publish the full letter that Charlie wrote you, not lines of it. Okay? So lie by omission, doing Fox News and Greta Van Sustern's show. He lied about the contents of a letter that Charlie Kirk had written him. Can anybody actually work and assert that I am lying? You can say my name. Candace Owens lied.
And there's tweets that also correspond. She says it's 100% true that Charlie opposed war with Iran and was fighting with his donors over Israel, as Tucker just shared on Megyn's show. This is why I am discomforted by the intentional lie by omission that Bibi told on Fox News about the letter Charlie wrote him. Bibi lied about the contents of the letter Charlie wrote him in May. It was a lie by severe omission. It isn't sitting right with me. He held the letter in his hand and propagandized it. He should publish the entire thing. Well,
he didn't have to.
It's out.
He didn't have to publish the entire thing. That really, it was a letter to him. So he had no obligation to do so. And he did. And it's actually it's a lovely letter. And it's chocked full of stuff. So I encourage everybody to read it. We encourage everybody to read it. But is she going to apologize? No.
Well, I'm waiting.
No, she will not. She will not apologize. And does Macron's wife have a penis? I still am waiting for that.
Still waiting.
Yeah.
So Dan Bermawi had this to say. He said, if Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson don't apologize after we've all read Charlie Kirk's letter to Bibi, then maybe it's time we stop taking anything they say seriously. I think that's probably pretty good advice.
Yeah, but they're going to gain way more followers.
Yeah,
what's gonna happen.
Will, because this is the trend and it's terrifying.
Yep.
A lot of people I know are becoming impatient with Megyn and her kind of response to all of this. And it got particularly heated yesterday because when the letter was released, she said basically, well, that's all well and good, but listen to my podcast with him. Here's a link to what Charlie said to me directly. I've listened to Charlie on her show. I don't think it's all that different. He was simply saying he doesn't appreciate being called an anti-Semite when his love for Israel should never have been questioned. And but he was making the point that just talking about criticism of Israel gets him labeled an anti-Semite, gets her labeled an anti-Semite, and they're both frustrated by that, which I get. I totally get it. But at the same time, the fact that she doesn't criticize Candace, that she doesn't criticize Tucker, and I guess she's friends with both of them, and maybe that's why people are starting to have a bit of a problem with that, and it's ramping up. Like the people's problem with Megyn is ramping up. So here is what she tweeted last night. She said the Charlie Kirk letter to Bibi is interesting for obvious reasons, but if you want to hear Charlie in his own words speaking to a friend regarding his feelings on Israel and the pressure on him, it's all here on August 6th. No filter needed. Just listen to him. So people were like, what the hell are you talking about? What's filtered about the letter? You know what I mean? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Which,
like, are you suggesting that there was a filter? Right.
Right. By the way, if you are somebody that has credit that is not laced with gold and you need a little help with some gold sprinkles on your credit,
you turn to Smart Credit, smartcredit.com/chicks. That's it. That's all you got to do. Listen, because the interest rates, the dropping interest rates, I mean, they're just dropping like crazy, right? But you can score huge savings on everything that you finance. Our kids just bought a house. Very exciting, you guys. Very exciting. Or if you want like a lower car payment, your credit score is the key to all of these things. We all compete in this house for good credit scores, like we're a very competitive family. Getting a good credit score is the key to getting good deals on all the things. And Smart Credit can raise your credit score by up to 34 points in 30 days. That's kind of a big deal. That's a really
they've got all the strategery.
A lot of strategy. They have patented technology and strategery that will scan your credit profile, and then they'll say, hey, this is what bills you have to pay when. They'll give you step-by-step advice on all the credit stuff. So it's like knowing how to do the things and all the strategies to be able to get you to the next step in your credit score. So you can do this. You can do it with smartcredit.com. You can start your 7-day trial. It's just $1 to start that trial at smartcredit.com/chicks. Do it today. Don't wait to do that. Open up the possibilities to great credit, you guys. Do it.
Do it. And so she responded then to someone on Twitter who called her out, not anybody with a big name or anything, but just a random comment was left for her by Florida Dad. And he said, if you can't separate yourself from Candace Owens, many of us are going to separate ourselves from you. We do not have to align with everyone that claims to be of the right when their motives and history are as shady as hers. And she was mad. Myself from anyone. I run my own media company and my own show. That show is where I express my own opinions, and I will decide what and what not to opine on. If you need me to condemn Candace or Tucker for their opinions in order to listen to me, then I may not be for you. He is a close friend, and she is under enough pressure without gratuitous shots from me. My fight is with the left, not these two. How do we feel about that?
I'm not sure what pressure I don't know what pressure she's under. And if she's under pressure, she puts it on herself. So I don't know don't really, when it comes to Tucker, she may have, like a history with him. And so she just doesn't want to get into it with him. But the Candace, I just don't understand the Candace thing. Like, there's just a lot. And when it comes to the drama, listen, I will always contend, like, if you're friends with somebody, you just don't start this crap after they die. You just don't do it. We're talking some of those videos that we just played in that montage were 5-6 days after he was shot. Mm-hmm. I just cannot imagine doing that to a friend, you guys. I stand by that. I can't imagine. I can't imagine doing that for clicks, likes, whatever, some sort of engagement on my page. I just can't. I will stand by that. I'm just not that person. Maybe that's why we're not that big. You know what I mean? I imagine a lot of it has to do with that. And that's okay. Because I can't. I just don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't like any of this. I think I'm
torn on her. I mean, we adore her. Like,
I
can't get to a point where I'm just like, I'm done with Megyn. I'm just not there. And I don't want to, I believe that she's right when she says, listen, I'm going to disagree with friends. Charlie said the same thing. Right. Charlie said very clearly, I disagree with Candace on a bunch of stuff. I disagree with Tucker on a bunch of stuff. That doesn't mean I'm not going to be friends with them. Right. Friends disagree. We talk it out, and that's fine. And I agree with her about that. Like, in no way should anybody be expecting her to cut ties with friends of hers. That's crazy. But I do think that she's not saying to people's satisfaction, I disagree with them completely, and I disavow what they are saying. And I think people that from Megyn.
I think there's a weird hands off with Candace and Megyn. It's
Right,
a little bit,
right.
it's a little bit weird. And we saw that. Remember when there was like a little beef they had a couple months ago, and she was like, I'm not going there. I don't know why that is. I don't understand it, because she will literally tear down anybody else. But for some reason, she is like a little bit standoffish with Candace. And I don't know why. I have no idea. I don't know the inside scoop on that, but
maybe she genuinely believes that Candace is spiraling. That was the word she used to describe her recently. She said, you know, I'm giving her some grace.
Yeah,
I think everybody's spiraling. Now she's saying she's under enough pressure. I mean, maybe she genuinely thinks she's got like postpartum depression or something. I don't know.
I don't either. But there's a reason that she just will not go for the jugular on that one. She just won't do it. And like with everybody else, she does. She's a ball buster, but I don't know. I don't know what her reasoning is. I'm not her, but I do, like, one of the things I think is interesting that kind of like I want to remain friends with everybody is I sent you a clip this morning, and Charlie even said, when asked about Candace, he said, I will not stop being friends with somebody who morally blackmails me. Those are his words. I find that very interesting. It's like he was that guy. I don't think he was a big fan of the stuff that Candace was doing. I don't think he was a big fan of the stuff that a lot of people were doing, but he was just going to remain like Switzerland with people. You know what I mean? He just wanted to remain friends with everybody. And that's who he was. And that's awesome. I love that. That's why he was able to do what he did in those situations where he'd get up there and be like, fight with me. You know what I mean? Like, let's debate. We can debate, and then we can be sweet to each other at the end. I can be nice to you. That's who he was. And I think that's a testament to Charlie Kirk, you know, is that he could do that. I don't think that at the end he agreed with her, when I say her, Candace, on a lot of things. Yeah. And, you know, but
he wasn't going to sever the friendship.
No.
That's not
who
still friends.
That's who he was. Now, would I have been that way? Probably not. But you know what I mean? But there are a lot of things that I am different than that guy in a lot of ways. But that's why he is the amazing guy that he is. And we'll all remember him for that. So
I'm thinking too about the Megyn's words when she was describing that letter to Bibi and saying, just listen to my podcast, no filter required. What would need a filter in a private letter?
Right.
There was no, you know what I mean? It wasn't like Charlie published that. He sent him a private letter. That would have been the most unfiltered Charlie ever. I mean, even more so than an appearance on a podcast, for example.
And it looked very well thought out. You know, it's like
exactly.
And it's just a great letter. It's a blueprint. It's a nice little blueprint for, hey, this is what you should do. If I were, let me give you some suggestions. And they're all really great suggestions.
Yeah. So there's been obviously tons of reaction from, some account names that you'll recognize. One, Karis Ray, and I'm not even sure if I'm saying her name right, but I thought that her comments were interesting. She said, note that Megyn is making the exact same arguments that Candace was making back in 2022 when defending her friendship with Kanye West, who had already outed himself as a pathological anti-Semite. You want to be friends with people who have said the Star of David is satanic and Israel is a demonic, made-up nation founded by pedophiles? Go right ahead, Megyn, and we will appropriately criticize you for it. It's what comes with the responsibility of being a public figure. If you can only dish it out, you really don't know how this works.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was yesterday, Candace said, Israel is retarded.
Nice.
I mean, that's the kind of stuff that you're dealing with, So... Yeah. It is what it is. I mean, to each their own. I guess we'll just see, but I watch everything. I look at everything, and I know how to think critically. A lot of people don't. There are a lot of people out there that just hang on every word of these people, and they're just like, oh, it's true. It must be true, and she's doing an hour and a half like deep dive on Macron, his wife's penis or lack thereof. You know what I mean? And so it must be true. I mean, there's still, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff out there that just happens where I think a lot of people they go down these rabbit holes and they want more rabbit holes, and then they trust these people and they feel like they're friends. I mean, it's kind of like on our Instagram, we'll say something that will go up about Candace, for example, and people will tag her as if Candace is their friend. It's like they want to defend her, and it's like, she doesn't care about you, person out. She doesn't, but they do. They get so invested in these people, and I don't know if that's a good place to be,
Yeah. Jonah Goldberg weighing in on this as well. Here is what Jonah said. He said, so you'll condemn anti-Semites on the left, not because they're anti-Semites, but because they're on the left, but you won't condemn anti-Semites who are on the right or are your friends because they're not? Okay, well, at least that's a position, I guess. So again, some pretty big names are coming out to be like, this doesn't jive. I'm not seeing what your take is. Eitan Fishberger saying, Megyn Kelly is not an anti-Semite, nor is she anti-Israel. She has consistently condemned Hamas and supported Israel's right to defend itself, which is absolutely true. That said, her response here is disappointing. Yes, people have been too hard on her, but her reaction to the criticism seems to be doubling down on her embrace of Candace out of misplaced solidarity and a hefty dose of spite, despite Owens' well-documented hatred of Jews and unhinged conspiracism. I'm sure being a public figure is difficult, doubly so if you're openly pro-Israel, and the justifiably cautious, even paranoid Jewish community, myself included, could certainly be more measured when we see someone push back against widely held views on Israel rather than immediately jumping to insinuations of anti-Semitism. But Megyn should be mature enough to take criticism and respond with a little more professionalism than she displayed in the tweet that we showed earlier.
With great power comes great responsibility, right?
Right. I want to believe that part of the reason, and the reason that I just can't be mad at Megyn and that I'll continue to be a Megyn fan.
Yeah, I'm not mad at her.
I believe that she genuinely does not pay a lot of attention to a lot of the things that Candace says. She probably hasn't heard some of the worst shit and therefore isn't going to condemn it because she just isn't paying that much attention to Candace. She kind of has a lot going on outside of this
got
topic.
Her own life. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I do, that's where I lean, is that she's just like, because remember, even with the Macron thing that they did get into that spat about, Megyn was like, I didn't watch the whole thing. I have no idea like what her whole philosophy. Yeah. I believe that to be true about this issue as well. Maybe I'm being naive, but that's where I land. Lastly, on this issue, Konstantin Kaizen also weighed in and said, the problem with this approach, which many on the right are taking, is that this is exactly how the left allowed its own extremists to first flourish and then to become the face of their entire movement. If you agree with Candace and Tucker, people will respect that. But to many of us, their behavior is so extreme and so deranged that the idea that it can simply be ignored because your fight is with the left doesn't wash. You have always been a great, principled, truth-seeking journalist. So to many of your admirers like me, the question might be, if you agree with them, fine. But if you don't, why isn't your fight with them?
That's a really interesting question. Yeah.
And maybe it's because she just doesn't know all the things that they have said that are really egregious.
But it's also scary to fight with your friends.
It's especially publicly.
Thing. Yeah, it's scary to fight with your friends. It's scary to have friends and then find out that friends that you've had for a really long time feel a certain way and you don't agree with that. And it's a way that it's kind of icky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you have to realize, God,
like if you decided all of a sudden that you were going to vote for Zoran in New York City, and I would have to contend with that. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I mean, can you imagine?
I cannot.
That's the thing. So this is the thing. If you have good friends that all of a sudden start feeling a completely different way that you feel about something, I don't know. It's a tough call, man. It's a tough call. I'm the kind of person, it's kind of like when I said that, Charlie Kirk said that he's going to not stop being friends with somebody if they morally blackmail him. I would. I would stop being friends with somebody who morally blackmailed me. I'm not him. You know what I mean? For the same reason that I want revenge on people. I'm not the best Christian in the world either. I would be like, yeah, we're not friends anymore. We're not. Bye. Yeah. See ya. I mean, I've cut family members off for less than that. You know what I mean? I just don't. If you're toxic, we're done. So that's just who I am as a person. I know everybody is. So she may not be like that. And that is okay, to each their own.
It's
right?
Fine.